Hello, water cults and Rachel Castanedas alike. I'm your guide, Q, and welcome to r/Let's Not Meet stories. These are extremely creepy and might bother you, so beware. Hey guy and his tighty whities, let's not meet again, okay? This happened when I was 12. I was babysitting for a family with two little girls. I babysat for them fairly frequently, and they lived around the corner. The father was weird and intense, would ask me to do weird things like be a bartender at a party they were throwing, or encourage me to try on his wife's clothing and play dress up. He asked personal questions about my boyfriends and what I did with them. I didn't have boyfriends. The wife was never around for these interactions. One night, I was babysitting, and after putting the girls to bed, I started hearing weird sounds from upstairs. I was about to call my dad to come investigate for me when the father came down the stairs wearing nothing but his tighty whities. He had been there the whole time waiting for his girls to go to bed. I jumped up and ran for the door, and he called after me that he hadn't been feeling good, so he stayed home and that he would pay me. I just left and booked it home. I was weirdly embarrassed, so I didn't tell my parents. I just decided I'd never babysit for them again. After that, my mom started getting weird phone calls while I was at school. Someone just breathing into the phone or asking if I was home. This was before cell phones and caller ID, mid-90s. That culminated with her getting a phone call where a man told my mother that he was going to get me and detailed exactly what he was planning on doing to me. My mom never told me exactly what he said, but it was bad enough that she called the police. The police were able to track down the number to the creepy father. I didn't know what was happening until the cops showed up to my school to escort me home, because the creepy father wasn't home. He was outside my school, waiting for me. The man went to jail and then to inpatient psych. He sent me letters from the hospital, which was in violation of the restraining order we had been granted. So we went from the hospital back to jail. So hey, man in your underwear, let's never meet again, okay? I just want to say that I'm extremely glad that you had such great instincts to get out of that house when all of that went down, because who knows what he was planning to do, and I really hope that this dude is in jail for a very long time, and if he ever gets out, that he's not around his children whatsoever. Saved by preteen vanity. In middle school, I posted my drawings to a popular online art community. Sometimes challenges went around, such as uploading a picture of yourself and then drawing yourself in different styles. Your personal style, Disney style, and so forth. Kind of a meet the artist type thing that was certainly intended for folks older than a 12-year-old child like myself at the time. Being a naive kid, I'd take part. A few days later, my inbox lights up with a message. A dude I don't know is sending me compliments on my work and asking for help with his class art project. Of course, I agree. I'm not supposed to talk to strangers online, but whatever, Mom. My artistic talent is finally being recognized. Naive, remember? As it turns out, the guy wants me to model with duct tape over my mouth and ropes around my body. He tells me it would be great if I had torn clothing that I could wear for the full effect. Magnanimously, he says that should I not want to tear my clothes and get in trouble, it would be okay if I took photos of myself with duct tape over my mouth in various states of undress. My new online friend is adamant that I send the photos directly and privately to him and delete them afterward so that none of his classmates could see and plagiarize them. Cool, the newly awakened 12-year-old model in me thinks this is totally normal and appropriate. I proceed to take the pictures on my family's digital camera and upload them to my family's dinosaur desktop computer. It's only when I go to his page to send them along that I see another person's comment there. The comment is apologizing for being unable to model and asking if anyone else has agreed to help with his art project yet. No longer feeling special or appreciated for all my hard work, I decided not to send him the photos. In what felt like a fit of spite at the time, I also deleted the photos and blocked him so that he could no longer see all of my cool art. It wasn't until years later that I remembered this exchange and thought, that dude might have been using me for nefarious purposes. To the online predator wanting photos of an almost naked, tied-up preteen, let's not meet. I mean, I know you said you were naive, but we're all naive at 12 years old and looking for somebody to validate the things that we do, whether it be your athletic ability or your artistic ability or your academic ability, whatever it might be. We're always looking, or I personally was always looking for the approval of older people. And so that makes this sort of thing really easy to happen. And I'm so glad that by some random chance, some other person commented about this situation and you didn't send this disgusting person the pictures he was looking for. Thank God for campus safety lights. This happened a few years ago, back when I was still in college. I attended a school that was in a very bad area, an area filled with prostitution, drugs, gang violence, etc. Despite all of this, the school is actually pretty good and is usually relatively safe as long as you're not out too late and stay on campus. Well, my mistake was that I was not home before nightfall. At that time, I worked on campus, and after my shift, I started doing some homework. I lost track of time, and before I knew it, the cleaning crew arrived and I was told I had to leave. I checked the clock and it's 10:30 p.m. I normally walked home from work as I only lived maybe one block off campus. However, I decided to call the safety escort service to be safe. So I call and they quote me 10 minutes. I wait 10 minutes and then go outside, effectively locking myself out of the building. I thought this would be okay because the safety escort was supposed to be here any minute. Except they were running late. After about 5 minutes of waiting, I debate just walking home. No one was out except this one man across the street from where I exited the building, so I figured it was relatively safe to walk back. He's coming from the direction I would need to walk in, though, so I decide to be safe and wait for him to pass. Thank God I did. As soon as this man reaches the parking lot I'm in, instead of heading past me, he does a sharp turn and starts to walk towards me. He starts shouting aggressively at me, something along the lines of, "How much, you whore?" As I mentioned before, this is an area known for prostitution, so I figured he mistook me for a prostitute, so I shout back, "I am not a prostitute, I'm a student at this college." He keeps coming closer, still muttering angrily under his breath. At this point, I'm scared, but I'm still wondering if this is some sort of misunderstanding, so I shout, "Do not come any closer, you are scaring me." I was trying to be as clear as I could, using body language too, in case he didn't speak English well. A lot of immigrants lived in this area too. He doesn't listen and keeps approaching, still muttering angrily. At this point, I'm not listening to what he is saying, but trying to look for a way to escape because he is not backing down. I notice he has a distinctive limp, but I'm in heels, so I'm not sure I can outrun him. I automatically dart back from my building and start pounding on the door, hoping the cleaning crew would hear me. They did not. As soon as he sees me run, he starts charging at me. At this point, I can't see this being a misunderstanding, and I'm sure he's got bad intentions. I look around me and notice a blue safety light a little bit past my building in the opposite direction, and I drop my bag and sprint for it. I hear his footsteps chasing me. I push the button and am connected with campus safety, and I immediately yell my location and that a man is approaching me right now and looks like he's about to hurt me. He's still charging at me, almost to me, but I don't want to be disconnected from the police, so I stay at the safety light and yell at him that I'm talking to the police right now. Campus police says they are on their way. He continues coming at me and I'm shaking at this point and planning my self-defense. I was thinking I would kick him behind the knee on his limping leg and then book it if he tried to attack. At the very last minute, he brushes by my shoulder, hitting it, and then turns and runs off in front of me, past the front of the building and then darts off down the street. I figure hearing me call the cops scared him off. I hate to think of what would have happened if I had walked home towards this man out of reach of any safety lights. About 2 minutes later, campus police arrived. I give them a description of the suspect, black, mid-40s, beard, limp, and a gray sweatshirt and ripped jeans, and then drove me home. Don't know if the safety escort ever showed. They called about 20 minutes after dropping me off, saying that they found someone down the road matching my description, but wanted to know if I remembered him having a backpack or not. I said I couldn't remember, so I guess they had to let him go. So yeah, creepy man with a limp who decided to chase me down one night outside my campus, let's not ever meet again. So I'm super happy that everything worked out because this could have gone horribly wrong, but I really think that safety escort person should be fired or at least not allowed to do safety escorts for a while and reprimanded heavily because I know that every safety escort isn't going to be an emergency like this, but giving an incorrect time estimate that's this bad could end up having something really bad happen like this. So that bothers me deeply, but like I said, I'm glad everything worked out. Stranger staring through the window of the apartment next door. This story doesn't involve me directly, but I was there when everything went down. This happened about a year ago. I used to spend every day at my best friend's apartment building, which was kind of a weird setup. When you walk into the apartment from the hallway, there's a living room / kitchen area, and then you walked down a hallway where all the rooms were lined up next to each other. She lived in a big apartment building where each unit was set up similarly and shared a balcony with the apartment next door. Both units have a glass door that leads onto this balcony. Due to the layout, in order for each bedroom to have a window, there's an empty space the width of the balcony between two neighboring units that share it. This also means that your bedroom window directly looks into your neighbor's bedroom window from about 15 feet away. Now that that's out of the way, the story. My friend and I were in the living room watching a movie on a Saturday night when one of her roommates scurried into the living room looking terrified and exclaimed, "There's a man staring at me from the window next door." She explained that all of the lights in the apartment have been off all weekend, so she had assumed that all of the girls next door had gone home for the weekend. It was a set of college apartments in a dangerous neighborhood. She had the blinds cracked open and was laying on her bed when she saw movement from the dark room next door. She looked over and there were a pair of eyes staring at her from the dark. At first she thought she was nuts, but a minute later she saw a large, dark arm press up against the glass and the eyes emerged again. Yikes. The lights were already off in the living room, and we all crouched down and gathered around the glass back door to watch the windows of the apartment next door to see if anyone was inside. Sure enough, after a minute, through the blinds, we saw someone moving around and flicking lights on and off. This made us nervous because he could easily walk out onto the back porch, and then the only thing standing between him and us would be a glass door. We were all freaked out, but reasoned that maybe one of the girls had given her boyfriend a keycard and he was the one inside. On the other hand, the apartments were super easy to break into. You swipe a card down the lock and you're in. There were about 50 units in the building and a huge problem with robberies. The next day, I was over again, and we heard the girls come home. We went out onto the back porch and knocked on their door. When we told them what happened, their faces went pale as they explained that nobody was home and nobody should have been inside the apartment. After informing the building manager of what happened, they all gathered their belongings and went somewhere else for the night. Unfortunately, the building manager didn't give a crap or do anything about it, but a few months later, everyone moved out. Nobody knew who he was or how he got into the building in the first place, since there is a security guard sitting at a desk by the front door. So, creepy dude who broke into the apartment next door and stared through the window, let's not meet. There's something about this story that is just so deeply unsettling to me. I think it's the combination of the window that can see into your apartment and the balcony thing where all that was between you and this guy was a glass door. Like, I was in a hotel recently that had a door that, like, the two hotel rooms next to each other shared for some reason. I guess you could buy both and have a family be, like, a parents in one room and kids in another room. But I was so scared the entire time that the person was somehow going to, like, pick the lock and get into my room and kill me and my girlfriend. But I can't imagine that barrier only being a glass door. It just freaks me out way too much. If you want to come watch me look like a human thumb and also play some Amnesia: The Dark Descent and get pretty scared, come, not you getting scared, I will be getting very scared. You'll probably just be laughing at my suffering. And yeah, twitch.tv/yourque, as in the queue that belongs to you. I hope to see you out there. It'll be pretty interesting. You can find that in the description down below, alongside both my Twitter and Instagram links, as well as the Amazon affiliate links to all of the equipment I use. Those are pretty cool, because if you click on those and do other shopping on Amazon, I also get credit for that, so consider doing that stuff, and I will see you very soon. Have an absolutely wonderful day.